keep it under an hour. There'll be a lot of people with different views on our very important win against the Dragons on Saturday night in front of 30,000 people. I'll wait for a few people to jump on to come and say hello. Welcome to the people who've already jumped on a Sunday night. Get some more doggy stuff in before you go to work tomorrow for those that are working. Doing the morning grind on a Monday. So come say hello on the chat. We're going to talk about this game. We'll also look at New South Wales Cup. They had a massive win, and it was a real reset to their season. Also a much important win for the Jersey Flegg side to try and ensure they get into the top 6. New South Wales Cup need to make the top 5, and it's very, very difficult. Real separation in the competition. They're going to have to win every game. But the most important thing for that team is to have players firing on all cylinders like they did in a great day at Belmore, where we saw some amazing tries and against some old Bulldogs players in the Manly team. And they're not going that well, Manly, but they go all right. And it was a good fight back after what we did last week, getting flogged 50-0. Oh, g'day, Brian Dibb. Welcome. G'day, Brian. How are you, mate? Sexton would never have made that pass. Well, look, he hasn't made that pass in that situation yet. But, look, I'm going to talk about what you're going to get from me always is balance, okay? Unless people are trying to piss me off, then I go out of balance. But when we're talking about the Bulldogs, I'm going to talk to the future, this next 7 weeks, and how this all relates. And we had some deficiencies because we are forming some new combinations, and you've got to expect that, which leads us to a situation where we've got to throw that pass. And yes, I think Toby has struggled with that type of thing. Does Toby own that moment? Not sure. If he gets the ball, then does he? Have they done video on Tyrell Sloan then? And does he throw that ball? Probably not. I reckon he runs and comes back inside and goes the other way. That's what I think. With 2 minutes to go, I think Toby would have probably done that. But we first play in Cup, first try, beautiful cutout ball to Blake Wilson. Got us off to a great start, So he's done a great job in New South Wales Cup there, give them a lot of confidence. Really put his hand up. He was excited. He was happy. They were all happy. They had a great day out. And they've all put their hand up to come in and replace injured players or players that might drop out of form over the next 6 or 7 weeks. But what I expect to see from our side over the next 6 or 7 weeks is just continued improvement in our defence. That's where we had some deficiencies and where Sexton would have definitely helped us. More so in our everyday set defence, defending yardage and all that sort of stuff. I felt we lacked a little bit there on both edges, and that's to do with new combinations. But at the same time, owning that moment, I think that's where we're moving to. That's where Galvin is going to be very, very important. And that's what I'm going to talk about. So what are our deficiencies in moving to these changes? And I'm just going to say, for all those who talked about the imbalance and all the shuffling around and that, I want you to put it back in your pants and look at what happened last night where we got that 2 points. We got the 2 points last week. All those positional shuffles were strategic. They were part of the plan. We had injured players trying to stay on our side to keep it as stable as possible while we're missing players in Origin, which you're not used to. For us. Sorry, we just cut out there then and been having really shit internet, which is so annoying. So send me a message if it goes down. But I really want to talk to the people who expected we had to win that game by 30 or 40 to prove or anything. This was a reset. Now, I think my points prediction was 22 points to 8 in a really tough game that maybe we were ahead 16-8 with a few minutes to go and got one late. That's how I was seeing it. It was a lot more cutthroat than that. Any NRL side, if any NRL side completes at 94%, you're going to find it hard to beat them. And that's what the Dragons did. I might just go to my Wi-Fi hotspot because this is annoying me. Let me know if I keep cutting out. But this hotspot seems to do the trick if I go onto that. Sorry about this, guys. I just want to make sure we've got that there. I'll just turn it on just in case we need to quickly go to it. So welcome, everyone. There's a lot of yous there. Doggies for Life, welcome to you. Welcome, Elaine. Thanks for being it. G'day, Jay Pizzle. Lots of people. Got a heap of bloody subscribers today, so I just want to thank, if anyone's here for the first time and just subscribed, hopefully you enjoy it. I love to talk, and I'll try to get to everyone and answer everyone's questions, and I'm going to give you as much balance as I can. And I don't have time for people who just want to dog out our players and that sort of stuff. So that's for other podcasts, outrage casts, I call them. All got a purpose and love the dogs as much as I do. And I love them. And I watch everybody's podcast. And I learn shit from everyone. And I learn stuff from you guys as well. Definitely do. Heaps of stuff. G'day, David. G'day, Gasson. Timmy. Hi again, Brian. Sayed, Tiam, what I find crazy is that none of the top 4 teams are playing their best. No, it's not crazy, Sayed. This is the thing. We've just had a bunch of the top teams have lost a heap of players. Like Warriors have lost their two of their most important players, really. And they shouldn't have won today. But they got the win. A bit like the Bulldogs. But I felt the Knights were probably the better side overall. And I felt we were the better team over the Dragons for the majority of the game. When you look at it, they had that roll on where they exposed us a bit and we felt the pinch. And we'll talk about the reasons for that or my analysis on that as to why that happened. But it's not this is all part of the post-Origin period. And especially when you get players that have never played Origin before, and there's a few of those in both sides. And they've got their sort of some of them thrive from it, and there's been a lot of work done to make sure people are much more prepared on the exit. But some teams just get really flat for a few weeks after Origin, and then they come in big. And one thing that's happened with the Storm in this Penrith period is they've had some really good seasons. And then got to the finals and just been a shot duck. So it's about timing. And the 2 teams that are, to me, are going to look really dangerous are the Panthers and the Broncos. But this season, you can look on fire and then next week just have your pants pulled down. So it's hard to predict anything. It's hard to be a punter, that's for sure. That's a perfectly well said, Sayed. It was their season on the line. Galvin destroyed their season with 1 pass. Now, they can get to 30 points if they win every game on the run home. The season was basically close to done, but we just put the nail in the coffin. And all that big team that they played, and they managed to milk another four interchanges because I'm sure they stayed down anytime anyone was hurt. Our boys got up. Right, and that's been and I think that's going to do us well. Sometimes I wish they did stay down. Like Carraz copped an accidental crusher towards the end, got straight up. Rennie-Kama got hit in the face, got hit hard enough for Burton to stand up to someone who'd probably knock him out. And Rennie-Kama just got straight up, play the ball. That's what our boys have decided. No more milking penalties, none of this bullshit. And and there's a lot of people with a lot of faith and stuff in our side as well, and they're utilising that. So, look, get behind these boys. They're not going to play well all the time. And this was a reset and a restart. They've got new combinations on both edges that they've done a little bit of work to get into the side. it's going to take time. Get Galvin on that right edge defensively doesn't hit with the shoulder the same way that Toby does, and they're protecting him a little bit, which takes from there. If you watch the game, like, he does a great job because he doesn't really miss either. He's got the speed and he gets to players and he holds on and he's trying to use the shoulder. He's doing the best he can and he'll only get better. But you see him with his shirt off. He looks like that Sebastian Fundora. You don't understand where it comes from, the strength in that. Tim Zoo, well done today, mate. I love the fact that you had the courage to stop fighting that bloke. Takes more courage to step away than it does to keep going and fuck your brain up forever. So, because you're never going to knock that tough Mexican out. Even if he smashed him about 10 times, he would have copped 200 to get the 10. Time to end it. But, yeah. Anyway, you got my money. Like for the pay-per-view and whatever. But well said, Sayed, because they had to win that match, the Dragons, and they threw everything at it. And those big boys, they picked another big side. Look, I told on these Dragons podcasts that I went on, I said, if they pick Flanagan at hooker and then put Damien Cook on the bench, Liddell at 13, or Little at 13, or Cook at 13, something like that, and get a rotation going with those little guys, they'll go a lot better because they've got some really powerful big men out there. And I'd bring Elias in at the halfback as well. That's what I would do. Much better kicking game. Defends just as good as Kyle. Makes a few more errors, but he tries a lot more different things. And over time, I think he's got more potential than Flanagan. But anyway, they lost, we won, and I felt we deserved to win. We went after it, and so good to see how that all unfolded. The combinations there of, Salmon, beautiful passes in the first and fourth try. They all, Marnie in the first set, in the first half, Bailey Hayward in the second. Burton running that decoy as well. People forget that in that play. He's such a running threat, and I think he only threw like 23 passes all game, Matt. That would be the lowest amount of passes he's thrown in a game in a very, very long time. So Galvin had the majority of the call. And it's just going to take time. But defensively, it's where it's at, because I felt that the sets, the total average set distance for the Dragons is, whilst we had a heap of sets where we kept them, in our normal range, which was about 30 to 35 metres, they also probably had more sets than we're used to where they made more ground. And that was sort of going back to when teams would roll through us in some games last year and some games, definitely games of years, but in the previous, 5 years, especially, we're just getting walked through. But the point I want to make is that the Dragons did a bit of homework and we conceded some meters on our edges that we normally don't concede. And they played a bit of football. They threw a lot of offloads, probably double the amount we did in the end. And this enabled them to sort of get up the field. And because once they got a bit of momentum, G gave them all the 50-50 calls, like 3 or 4, which turned into repeat sets. And they just, the try that Finau scored when he dislocated his shoulder, that shows a kid who's got some talent. That was nearly like the Crichton try against the Broncos in the grand final. Like, Carraz they were all there, the Bulldogs. Galvin actually rushed out in that play and put them under a lot more pressure. He sort of was watching, should I go? Then he just went for it. Flanagan just passes the ball. They got the overlap. I think we still may have been in trouble. So it wasn't, his fault, but he didn't help. But that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. And we need to be honest about this, because he's going to be honest about it. He'll be kicking himself that he did that. And the coach will remind him. And the players will say, don't worry about it. And he'll be better for it. Terrell Sloan on that wing, they know when they get in that scenario that he rushes out and breaks the line. He can't control himself. And we got a pretty good, decent play the ball around. It was good speed to it. You know, it was just fantastic to get that win. I was so happy for them all. Very happy for the two young fellas. And, you know, knowing we were going to lose a little bit in some of these other areas, which all adds up to our normal game plan sort of having to deal with that and get better. So they're going to have to get better in that. We're passive a couple of times on our edges, and we're normally not like that. We need to be less passive and make sure that we don't allow that yardage, because it sort of, you know, we're good at doing that through our backs, getting up the doing that sort of thing to other teams. They did that to us, and what it was just the fact that we had a lot of new players in our team that we've been bringing through, and it just takes time. So as I said, they're the dips you get over the next 4 or 5 weeks. I expect that to just get better and better and better, and then you add to that a bit more attacking spark, confidence. We might drop a game or two on the way. I know people have penciled us in to win the next 3 games at least against the Manly, Tigers, Warriors, and then we've got 4 games: Roosters, Storm, Penrith, and Sharks. Now, part of me is hoping we get to the Sharks and the Sharks have qualified wherever they're going to be, and we're qualified wherever we need to be, and we can play some young kids in that final round. That'd be lovely. But I think it's going to be a real hard slog to get there. I think everyone's prepared for that from the comments I'm reading. And I really think it's going to take a lot more, a better effort each week to do it. I will say, though, that we've been very good lately in these milestone matches. We're in heritage jerseys and anniversary jerseys. You know, we beat the Roosters last year in the wet, wearing our new jersey. There's been some other times. I remember when we first brought out the Star Wars jersey years ago, the Alluvium jersey. I'm pretty sure we had wins in all those games. So look, it's the 30-year anniversary. It's going to be at Allianz, home game. There'll be a few Manly fans there, I expect, and I'm expecting to sell out, and I think it's going to be great next Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. And, you know, they beat the Storm. Should they have won? Well, they were in it to win it. They got the penalty. They won. But as they always say, in that grudge match, you can throw the form book out, just like when we play the Eels. It's always going to be a good game no matter where the teams are. And but they're getting some confidence, and they've got the strike and moving Tommy out into the centres. Kohler's fast. They've got Saab back in the side. You know, Croker will be getting going soon. He's come back from a bad injury, which takes time. The fella from the Warriors they brought over is a hard competitor. They got Takiaho. You know, all these players that have got experience and knowledge and are good under pressure. But this is our grudge match. Like, they knocked us out of the finals. I felt we were the better side. I'm more determined for a much better performance this week than last week, to be honest. We sort of had the wood on the Dragons, and we're in their head. And I think that also contributed to us getting that last little victory. They couldn't have done more to win that game. And, you know, the fact that they whinged about referee calls at the end, I couldn't believe that. But season on the line, and Flanagan still resort. You know, see, that's what I mean. With that big side that they're playing, with all those big forwards on the bench and whatever else, you have to complete really, really high, like 85, 90%. Normally, the Dragons give us about 5 or 6 more sets with the ball, and that would have made a big difference to the scoreboard. I'll tell you that. So well done to the boys. Very proud of them, and it was just great relief. But isn't it funny? You know, 2 minutes to go, we're behind. 1 pass, 1 try, changes the whole narrative. You know, Buzz Rockfield had his thing typed. and he's sitting there smashing his screen because he can't publish it. Ready to say, "I told you so." Let's move on, guys. I suspect our attack is going to improve. It will, but it's our defense, Tiam. I'm more worried about our defense because whilst it's very good in like the effort areas, getting numbers in, it's that edge control early and on both sides. And, you know, it will get better and better. There was also some other stuff there in watching the game again. And I saw it sparingly. Critter was pissed off. He was fuming in that game a few times. He made some good sort of breaks and some tackle busts in that second half when we were chasing, and Karaz didn't run with him, and there was no one else there as well. And I noticed that in attack a few times, the support play wasn't there like it is, you know, at the start of our games. We're the number one support play team in the comp. You know, running, and we saw Reed Marnie's try with Toops running with him to score the try. That sort of stuff sort of dissipated when we're chasing points, and Critter was fuming at Karaz that he wasn't there, and then he sort of did a play and they had to go back and do it, and Karaz didn't run with him when Critter went into the line, and he's like upping him, and I really love that. It was good leadership, you know, holding them to expectation constantly. You know, we're losing this game, and you're not doing the little things. It's the 1%ers that this team does, which makes us a threat to the comp. If we take away that effort stuff, we don't have the $4 million spine that these other teams have got, all the experience. So, you know, we've had one semi-final in 8 years, guys. People are talking about we should win the comp. Well, we've ticked off a lot of boxes. Even in that game against the Panthers, it was like a semi-final. We showed we can compete with them. And these are all boxes you got to tick along the way to put yourself in the picture, and then who knows what can happen, right? And that's all I'm concerned with, us putting ourselves in the picture. I'm not going to be too critical if we fail at the final hurdle, because I know it's not going to be a huge divot in what we're trying to do. You have to get there. You have to have prepared for it. You have to get closer and closer and closer. Win a semi-final would be a huge effort for our team. We've qualified. Next step for us is to get there in good spirits, in good health, feeling confident about ourselves. But just getting there, because, you know, you've seen Bulldogs teams in the past out of form or not playing well, only just getting there, and then come semi-final time, lift up, become the Bulldogs that we know. And I know it has nothing to do with this team, but it's in the DNA it's in the four walls of the place, and we know if they get there, they're going to give themselves a good chance. Win a semi-final is what you got to do. We're top four. That means we're in a prelim, and then who knows what can happen from there. I don't think Toby would, just for the fact he wasn't as active to get all around the field. Yeah, I think that's a good point as well, Brian. You know, and watching Cup, Toby and Woods combine well, both sides a couple of times. Sexton was happy to sort of be the general at different points and let Woods take over as the game went on. It was good. Like, it was like they were, you know, just working really well together, and it was great to see. But in that situation, I think Toby's looking to pass the ball to Birdo, or he's looking to give the ball to Critter. Like he's thinking about who do I give it to own the moment, rather than do I own the moment. And I saw him prepare for it in a number of games this year where he's tried to own the moment in different parts of the games, especially with his running game, and looked threatening, and then got absolutely hammered and knocked on and shit. It takes your confidence. It's like they were waiting for it. Every time it was like they knew he was going to do it. And I don't feel he telegraphed it. It was like they were watching training, or just knew that the Bulldogs were going to have their halves running a lot more, listening to what happened in the grand final last year and the amount of meters that Cleary and Luai ran was like Cleary ran 200 meters in a grand final, and Gus loved that. So I don't know, maybe there was a bit of a thought that our boys were going to be running a lot more. To me, there were 50-50 calls towards the back end of the game last, especially we got away with, but happy one, and we'll build on this. And that's the thing, they could have called those calls for the Dragons. They could have, definitely. But I felt the right call was made, but I'm going to say that. So I think we get those calls because our boys got up when the Dragons were trying to, take time out of the game, staying down, being hurt. Every time they sort of are in sort of a collision or anything like that, especially their big guys, it's like, oh, I'm hurt. And they get a high HIA and they're fine. They come back on and they play well. They got an extra 4 interchanges. Like it's a slide on the game, the whole thing. Did you see Tigers fullback Buller at the game in the member section? Very interesting. Yeah, well, he's got the same manager as Lockie Galvin, and look, Isaac doesn't look after him. It's another bloke. I think his name's Mark. And they're very well connected. They've got a really good relationship, and that's why Jerome Buller's gone across to them recently. And I think it'd make perfect sense, to be honest. We right now don't have the massive amount of depth in the fullback, and that's not giving any disrespect to anybody who's there. Connor Tracy is so essential to our game. He's a $450,000 player. I know it shouldn't matter, but no one's gone out to give him $750,000. Obviously, he's had a lot of injuries. He's sort of a victim of his own versatility. But he was again. Look, no one in our team's got more Dally M points than Connor Tracy this year. I can tell you that much. And I think if there's going to be anyone from the Dogs that goes close or makes the top 10, it'll be him. So I don't think it was him. What are your thoughts on Shane Flanagan's comments in the press conference? Oh, I think Shane just sticking up for his side. He's frustrated. They haven't beat the Dogs. He hasn't beaten Cameron Serraldo. He knew that his team completed high. He had another loss with his son at the number 7. The pressure mounts. And, I would have expected that the outraged fans would have had a big carry on. Kyle had some good moments in that game, but he had some really bad ones as well. I expected more, to be honest. But he did all right. He competes. That's the thing. He competes. I think Inari and Jeffro have to work a lot on their defence. I think Jeffro's tackle efficiency was 70% in Cup. Yeah, but look, so this is... I always feel like I've got to educate people, and I'm sorry if I sound like I'm talking down to people or condescending. It's just who I am. What I will say to you is that our middle has been soft plenty of times in Cup. And when that happens, your edges are forced to make choices they don't have to make. And when our Dogs are sitting there, driving teams back, and we're setting our line, teams don't score on us. It's only when they can get any sort of speed through the middle. So when you're playing in the New South Wales Cup side, which is chopping and changing players every week, and this is why they put these kids, they know when they put them into that team that they're going to be able to cope for the majority of it, because they don't have to rush out because they're not under the same pressure, if that makes sense. This is what I mean. It's like I'll keep talking about this to the day I die, I think. Not that it matters, but the wingers and the centres have to make the choices, and they're always going to have low tackle efficiency. It's when they're just missing blatant tackles that they should make that they're an issue, or if they're continually dropping the ball, the high balls that they should catch, or or stuff like that, or not staying on their wing in attack and being late to the party consistently all the time. That sort of stuff. That's when they're failing. When it gets to a point where the opposition have got numbers and they've got to come in and they get a hand on the opposition player and the opposition player scores, and the damage was done prior to that most of the time. This is what I mean. When people sit there comparing players against players, if you're not comparing context, you're not comparing anything. And that's what I mean. Like when people say, oh, Galvin come from the bottom place Tigers, the Wooden Spooners. Why would you do that? And he's getting all the ball and blah, blah, blah. He's not that good. Rah, rah, rah. I'm like, he's done pretty good in a team that's sort of been slowly getting better, which they have. And, you know, you put him in a side with a team that's really confident in their defence, he's going to add something to that. And he has. But you're right. Tuala and Jethro, their combination and coming into the side, if they were brought in this week against the Dragons, we would have lost. So that plan that was done through the Origin period enabled us for them to do a pretty good job, and they nailed some moments too, right? They nailed some moments in with and without the ball, 100%. And Jethro's work rate and catching the ball under pressure, he knocks on the first hit up. They're prepared to get stuck into him, learn a bit. But for a kid that young to be taking the second hit up of the game, and to be scoring the last try of the game, like he's the man, he's the shit. That's him right there for our wings, and having that extra speed threat as well. You know, Bronson Cherry's missed it the most, and Birdo's missed it a bit as well because he hasn't had that ability to put that chip in behind, knowing that Fox is going to be there. Now, they went with Montoya, and Montoya's done a great job in the mechanics of our game plan to get us to where we need to be, and we've been able to use a lot of stuff to get there. You bring Jethro in, he's going to be, you know, taking those hit-ups with force the same way. Good in the air, good finisher, and can scoot down that bloody try line at speed. He's not as fast as the Fox, but he doesn't have to be. But he's quick enough. And that's going to strip players off Cherry and off Burton, because I know you got Burton and Kickow and Cherry there, which is still a great thing. And they've been able to put Montoya away a lot of times because of that. But to have that extra dimension to be able to put a chip in behind or kick for the corner a lot better, all this other variation they're going to be able to bring with Jethro, which other teams haven't even seen yet. But I know it'll be coming because I've seen it in lower grades and stuff. That's going to strip defenders off, the likes of the Bronson Cherries and the Burtons and whatever else. And for our attack, that's where it'll evolve more. And I believe we'll do a really good job in that. Should say hello to everyone. We've got quite a few people on tonight, which is great. Some of those calls are definitely 50-50. About time we got some, 100%. G'day, David. Bad internet Aussie wide today, mate. Oh, gee. Yeah, what's going on? We're getting solar flares or some shit from the sun. Dogs should have lost. We should have won, mate. But I expected that we were going to struggle and that the Dragons were going to be desperate. And the way we played in that first half was pure perfect. We controlled the game. But as soon as the Dragons dug in, ran hard, made some meters, exposed us in a couple of areas. Bad miss by Birdo, I will say, and for their first try. They nearly scored off another try in that first half as well, which a lot of people forget about, which was disallowed because he pushed Jethro. And then but I felt we still played pretty well, and they were tired. But they were always going to have the energy for that game. And look, I don't know if they might take confidence out of it, the Dragons, and go to the next game and say, must win again and get the job done, whoever they play, or potentially they fall away and just, ride some luck, throw caution to the wind. We know all about that through the Dean Pay years with 5 wins at the end of the season and stuff like that. Knocked a few teams like the Dragons out of contention on the way, which is great. But that's the thing, Manly are going to want to finish in the top 8, and a lot of people are saying they won't. They're in it right now, and they just beat the Storm. So they're going to be desperate, absolutely desperate. This is another semi-final next week. We had a lot of these semi-finals come early for us last year. We had that start of the season. I think it was 3-6. Hutchison there doing the defensive work, busting his ass. Toby getting his KPIs in order with his defence. Once the coach said, yep, I can trust you to come out and tackle Halimi Olakawatu. Halami. Sorry, I can't speak properly. Then you come back to first grade and we go on with it and we do what we've got to do. And as soon as that happened, because I watch all the New South Wales Cup games, and he got better and better and better and better. It was really poor to start the year, even though we won that first game. Shocking on that edge, him and Hayes Perham, and it wasn't all his fault. There's a whole bunch of them just struggled together. But once he got in, great. It's the same sort of thing now. Got to get our defence right. Our players are going to just keep pushing hard into this game against the Seagulls. And look, any team with Tom Turbo in it running in the centres is a danger. And Daly Cherry Evans is a halfback that's very good and played for a long time. Has some shit games sometimes, but he stands up against the Dogs most of the time. Toru Kola, very good player. And young Hopewadi is an absolute gem of a star. Like, they have got it all over the park. And they put it together. They're a genuine team. And I think they're going to be very hard to beat. But I expect the Dogs to go out there, improve a bit more, get their game on, and dominate that in the areas that they normally do, and expose these Seagulls at different points of the game, and go out there and get a victory. That's what I think will happen. But yeah, it's a huge game. It's a blockbuster, and there's a lot riding on it. The 1995 Bulldogs, which that final series, that was the toughest ever pack. That wasn't Warren Ryan's Dogs of War, no. But that pack, Dean Pay, bloody Steve Price had only just started, Simon Gillies, bloody Jason Smith, we had Mitch Newton, Darren Britt, Jason Heverington. They destroyed the opposition forward packs the whole way through that final series. Dragons was a real good game, and Dragons still think they should have won. Gordy's still dirty on it, which is why he hates the Dogs. But that's the sort of team I want to see turn up next week, with that commitment in defence, that aggression. That's the side. I want them to channel that from 1995 and go out there and absolutely rip and tear. Tupanua won't be there. He's done his hammy again. I'll talk about that as well. Probably the only big criticism you're ever going to hear from me from this year about our coach. It's not a criticism on the coach. It's a reflective, retrospective. I think he did the wrong thing there. At that point of the game, Sitili Tupanua come off. He was puffed. Just got back from a hamstring. I'm not saying I know more. Chasing points, I think the coach has gone, okay, well, Sitili offers a little bit more than Curran. And Sitili's probably saying, I want to get back out there as well. And being a good coach, sometimes you allow your leaders to have some influence and you say, okay, I'll run with your choice. Let's do it. Sometimes it costs you, sometimes it works. but it's about learning all the way, right? But for him to go on 10 minutes after he'd come off on his first stint in like what was 10 or 12 weeks, I felt Curran had only played 20 minutes. He could have come on easily there. I think we still get it done. It's Tilly, he was running hard into down that left edge corridor there. And that's where he did it, I think. 3 minutes after he come back on. Different area of his, so I don't think it was the same injury, what Gus was saying, but very much cost us a player. I don't know for how long, but he did some good stuff. And the fact he was there when Marnie went to the line and scores that try. If Marnie was running with Curran then, I don't think we score. So that's probably why the coach did what he did. But in my thought process, I'm putting Curran on and still expecting him to win it in whatever minute it needed to be to get the win. But yeah, I felt Harry Hayes did a good job just talking about players. Timmy, I feel the call on Luciano Lalua in the tackle on Carraz and the play the ball could have gone either way. Yeah, it could have, mate. Yeah, we covered that. But I honestly believe when you put your foot forward before the ball's, if his foot's stationary and then the ball gets planted on it, it goes the other way. His foot's there and Carraz is getting up and moving forward into the ruck, it's a lost ball. Because his foot's moved forward into the space, as it's gone down, so his foot's going that way like that, and the ball's come down like that. Our ball. And I think that's a pretty good stipulation the way they went about it. G'day, Steve. Welcome. West Tigers fullback during Bulldog was spotted. He sure was, mate. Fake news, is it? Oh, I love your contributions there, Brian. Brian did. G'day, Stevie. Manly was the biggest upset this round. Exactly right, Steve. G'day, Marty. I've been well, brother. How have you been? And welcome back. Gratitude as well. The season really is starting now, and this is what I've said. With all the noise, and guess what? The noise, I love it when the media says there's all this noise, and I'm like, yeah, the noise you fuckers create. But it's not them, it's us, guys. The noise isn't coming from within. It's coming from us. And when I say us, I mean not as individuals, but as a fan base. It's coming from our fan base, mainly. Just panic and all these know-it-alls, me included. You think they can just go there and just expect perfection all the time? When most of the people, and some of these people have turned up, right, and been part of 8,000 people crowds and whatever else, but there's a whole bunch of people laying smack on the team and on players that just weren't that interested when we were down the bottom of the table. But anyway, it's up to people how they enjoy their football. It's up to them. But it's us who controls the narrative. If we allow it to come in, this is what I say, people putting shit on Toby Sexton to justify Galvin are as bad as people putting shit on Galvin. Don't put shit on any of them. If they have a real bad game and you're at the ground, fucking tell them to pull the finger out of their ass. That's what it's about. I'm sure their parents will too. But to sit there on social media and Salmon's shit. Get rid of Salmon, he's shit. Like, why? And people, our own supporters saying that Salmon's on his knees for Serrato and shit. Like, and now they're starting to say that about Galvin. That the coach has got a hard one for Galvin. Like, seriously, man. This coach is a fucking hard ass. Has the right relationship with people, but when he sits there and fucking gives them the stare, they get, he gets a response from them. They want to do well for him. They don't want that, They want to get better. there's so much from the inside, and when you get to speak, I've been privileged enough to speak to some people who give you that insight, right? And I've seen it over different years. You know, I used to live at Campsie years ago. Went to every game one year. Lived at Campbelltown. Used to remember jumping on the West bus to go play the Bulldogs at Olympic Stadium with the only Bulldogs jersey on the bus. It was hilarious. But I'm proud to wear it. We flogged them 54-14. Shane Perry was playing reserve grade that day. Shane Perry, a reserve grader, went on and won a premiership with the Broncos in 2006. Drew Hutchison, much better footballer, in my opinion. But there you go. Broncos are my biggest worry. That Blood Reynolds has been pulling our pants down since 2013. Yeah, well, I remember in 2012, they looked all over us in the prelim until he did his hammy. Then we just ran roughshod. I still think we would have come over the top though. But yeah, very good little player. But under pressure, he's making a lot more errors than he used to under pressure. See Jeff Rowe get straight up. He certainly did, friend. Fuck, he's sent me a lot of messages. I'm just going to have to smash through these quickly. Man, I wish Doggy's had some easier wins. My heart can't handle these nail biters. Every week feels like they're taking years off my life. Oh, I hear you, mate. I hear you. But look, I just look at the performance rather than the scoreboard, which is in that Broncos game. I was disgusted at the 28th minute mark, guys. You know, I said this the other day. My missus like, why are you unhappy? They're winning 16-0. What's your problem? Because they're playing shit. And if they don't start changing their mindset, they're not going to win. So it's this head fuck for us at the moment, guys. They're setting things up the right way, but now they've started to sort of have this mindset. Okay, all right, we need to put the foot on the throat, on the jugular, and smash it now. It's sort of been happening all year, like in a lot of games. I know we've had some games where we come home because, you know, and sometimes I feel we do that a lot better. We have, even in every game we've been behind, we've come home in. Even that Dolphins game, they got out to a big enough lead and we nearly got that back. But once they denied that forward, said it was a forward pass, that was the end of the procession. You know, couldn't do anything right from there. But it has been a constant. We haven't put the foot on the jugular properly. We've had to endure these periods where we go, oh, is this team going to come back on us? And then sort of win it again. And I look at that in a glass half full way, though, and I go, fuck, imagine if we put in an actual 80-minute performance of control, of attack and defence. We'll be near unstoppable. Is that possible this year? I hope so. That's what they're going to work towards. And I think they've got the structures in the defence to get there. Those new combinations will improve gradually. And that attack, they're going to have a lot more variation and options. And I've said it all season. They've just done what they've had to do a lot of the time and executed a lot of stuff, which is, you know, you go look at some of our tries this year. I've been very impressed with the ease of them. And then there's been moments where, you know, get the ball to Critter and watch him go. When he made that break, I'm like, who the fuck's backing up? And then luckily Galvin come through. Oh, God. I think Carraz was trying to get there, but they were a bit late to that party and just got there in time. But, yeah, look, there's a few little things we've got to fix, 100%. And it's all about how we, you know, can set this game up and have the mindset to keep grinding and know that we're just going to be able to force these teams to crack. It just seems the best way to go about it. And against the good sides, like the Penriths and the Storms and the Broncos and the Raiders potentially, and we'll just see how far into the trenches they're willing to go, how far into the gutter are they willing to go to scrap with us on the streets, because I strongly believe our team has a lot of confidence in that area, and as that's Bulldogs DNA, that's what we've always been able to do, and I want to see that start this Sunday against the Manly Sea Eagles. Hey, Matty Sullivan, welcome, matey, and thanks for getting me on with Jesse and the crew. And Big T at the Dragons. It was a good night. We just got to back the boys. That's it, brother. Tupanua's gone. Yep, and I blame the coach. I don't like blaming people, but I think in hindsight, you can say I probably shouldn't have put a fella on. But look, I don't know. They must have had full confidence that his injury was right, or he wouldn't have done it. But yeah, soft tissue injuries can happen anytime. I'm going back on what I said because I don't like blaming people or criticising people, but it's just from an observation. I understand why he made the decision from an attack point of view, but from a longevity point of view, I wouldn't have done that. And I spoke to a couple of coaches who thought that was a bit weird, but they didn't even know. But Jethro is a weapon. Sure is. Our problem was more the other side yesterday. I'll take an ugly win over a great loss any day. G'day, Damo. Welcome. Pulse 87. Galvin was supposed to bring more points, score the same tries they do when Sexton there. Hands up in the air. Pulse 87. Welcome, mate. So you'll be 38 this year if you're born in 87. Because I'm 48. Yeah, look, it's not about that at all. If you keep comparing things like that, you're just going to be sit there and banter with people and get nowhere. You've got to look at the transition, the origin period, the phases, and then take that last play. That last play, likely Toby goes searching elsewhere for a match winner, right? Galvin doesn't. He's like, give me the fucking ball. He's only 90. Just turned 20, by the way. And Jethro holds his wing and just goes bang. I was just as impressed by the catch and the put down as I was by the pass, to be honest. And look, it's a team game, and I keep saying this. Everything relates. Having the certain players on the field together at the same time makes a huge difference. If we had Toby on that right hand edge, I don't think they go out. I think we concede one less try. Put it that way. I honestly believe that. And maybe we score another try early because of that. You know, I don't think we've actually had a net gain. So I agree with what you're saying on the surface, but understanding that to get, parity with what we had before, the same amount of tries, possibly conceded a little bit more, and then to have that match winning moment with 2 minutes to go from a kid that they've brought in to do that, because that's why they brought him in, because that's the type of player that they're looking at moving forward. That is a gain for us. It's a net gain, because I know those combinations, his defense on that right edge, they're all going to get more connected together as the season goes on. They're going to, he's going to make some tackles that he's going to have to make against some big boys on those edges. They're going to target him. He's going to be holding on for dear life, and the players got to trust each other. And that's the same on the other edge with Jethro and Ari. And that's the other thing. People are going to be worried, but they'll be like, oh, well, an Ari will drop out. I think Jethro will probably drop out. Just watch. Part of me is like, I'm rooting for Jeff Rowe to hold on to that wing position for the rest of the year and handle it and just improve. And I think everyone will be very, very happy with that. But I've just got a feeling Anari will push out into the left wing when Cherry comes back. So, but the coach knows better, and they know why they do these things. They do them for the benefit of the club and the team. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yes, we'll get a net gain. The fact we've got parity at the moment, things are pretty much similar. We could have easily won the last 4 games, guys. And we could have easily have lost all 4 games as well. And either way, I would probably still feel the same as I do now. Exactly the same about our season. Hey, mate, hope you're well. Heart attack game, but win's a win. That's it, brother. Hope you're well too. Surprised Dragons are letting Terrell Sloan leave at this season. Then he's bloody quick. He is, but as we know, if you go and watch his games on the wing and things he's done in defence as a fullback and over his whole time, he's got parts in his game where he doesn't need to sort of take an action that he takes. He takes it, and they've had enough. And they've obviously got other people there that they think are going to do a better job for them to make some finals and win a premiership. That's what it comes down to. Goes on. Dragons played extremely well, got a great run of possession and penalties in the second half, but I was extremely impressed with patience our team showed. We achieved exactly what Ciro was after. I felt we did learn from our mistakes. Now, I know there was a couple of errors in the play of the ball, and we're lucky to get one go our way, one went against us. And we didn't give away a heap of penalties. And they just got on a bit of a roll, yeah. But we played it till the end and we won. But you got to give credit. They had the 93% possession. If they do their normal possession, they don't get close to us. They played at a higher level. They played it like a semi-final. And from the very first tackle they made on King, you had to know they were on. But it just shows that we're a class above them. And I know everyone expected that. Is like, yeah, we're way better than the Dragons and we should have flogged them. And the fact that we didn't means that there's red flags everywhere. Well, there's always going to be red flags, but the Storm lost. The Warriors should have lost today. Panthers flogged the South Sydney Rabbitohs. We would have put 50 on the Rabbits today, last week, the way they played. I felt we played all right. We still completed about 84%. Possession, we ended up having 51% over the whole game. Pretty much 30 seconds in it with the ball. We made about 200 more metres. Could show you all this stuff, but I've already looked at it. Missed tackles, missed a few more than them, but that's normal for us. Just be happy Dogs were playing Dragons and not a top 4 side on Saturday night. What did it matter? A top 4 side was playing a team outside the 8 and they lost. The Storm were where we were, they lost in a close game. That's what I mean. Just because we only just beat a side outside the 4 doesn't mean that's just all semantics, brother. But welcome. It's great to see you, mate, and have you on here. And I appreciate you. Value that contribution. These questions are what people think and thoughts that people have, but I'll debate it till we don't know that. Newcastle might have beat us today. I doubt it, though. There's a lot of teams that if Newcastle win that game today, their season's still alive, right? Their season's still alive, technically. They'll only be 2 or 4 points outside the 8. They lost. They charged down 10 seconds to go. They charged down a field goal attempt that was probably never going to happen. And it cost them a try through their effort. It was hard. That's how close this game is and this competition is. And yet I still get people talking about it in semantics about ladder position and about scoreboards and shit like that. It's about how you play. And the Dragons deserved every bit of credit they got for that performance. They haven't completed that high for 2 or 3 years, I don't think. And we played a team the other day didn't, drop a ball all half or something. This is what we're going to get in the run home. We've got 4 games in a row with teams that want to make the finals. The West Tigers are still in a chance of making the finals. They win their last 7 games. They get 32 points and can get for and against up if they win all them games. Now, that's going to be the intent of that team. And they're going to play us the following week. So, after a bye, they have a bye. Typically, we play a team after a bye. Didn't hurt us last year, but year before, most teams couldn't beat sides after their bye. So, we're going to play sides that want to make the finals, and they're going to throw everything at us. And that's great for us. We need it. Those kids on those edges, Jeff Bro needs that. Lockie needs that. They need that. The last thing they need is to be coasting. Although it'd be nice, I'm sure. They probably like it. But the lessons they get out of it are priceless. Like, these kids aren't here for just this season. It's about forever for these kids. And everything they're going to get on this run home is perfect for their careers. If us fans can just stay positive and keep rolling with the support and not looking to sit there and go, okay, well, they were 4th, they were 15th and they nearly beat us and rah. Like, who gives a fuck? Sorry if I'm taking the piss, right? Look at my face. You can take the piss out of me anytime you want. Don't tell me how to run my show, though, or run my podcast like Brian tried to do the other day, telling me how to run my own podcast. Like, my ego's not that bad. I'm pretty happy to take on ideas and suggestions and that sort of stuff, but sit there and dismiss my contribution when I'm paying for it. Seriously, that's hilarious. Anyway, did you see how bad Raiders and Storm play? Yeah, it was funny, that Raiders game, actually. Thanks for bringing me to that, because looking at the TV screen, when we played the Raiders in Canberra, all the points were scored one end of the field. And the game of the Raiders and Para, most of the points again were scored at that one side of the field. I think it was 46-12 in favour of one end over the other. But the Raiders managed to get the 12 points at the other end, whereas Para couldn't get any at the other end. And that's what it come down to, really. Both sides dominated. The Raiders dominated the first 10 or 15 minutes of the first half, and then they dominated the last 25 minutes of the second half. Para dominated the second 25 minutes of the first half, and then the first 10 to 15 of the second. They weren't dominating the second, but they were going all right. Young Joash, unfortunately, threw a pass. He went for a play down a short side. The Fox wasn't there. He would have been covered anyway. There's plenty of defence. Young fella makes a young mistake. Next set they concede, and then they concede like 3 or 4 more after that. So it was just one of those games. It seems that ground, whatever, I don't know what it is, it all goes down the one way. Storm have been on and off a lot of the time. Meany played all right at fullback, but they didn't have Ryan Pappenhausen there, and it makes a difference. But they haven't been an 80-minute team Well, yeah, but, they had that massive win over the West Tigers. But outside of that, they've been vulnerable in games and lost more games than us. So there you go. Raiders only beat the Eels. Obvious ref carrying them 5-1 Parry, 6 against first 3. No, I thought we would go to be a top 4 team at the start of the year. Everything now is gravy. We are ahead of where most peeps thought we would be. Comment of the day, brother. Comment of the day. Very well said. That's the thing. Be careful what you wish for. To go from, I think a lot of people expected, okay, well, we finished 5th or 6th last year. Maybe we can win a final and get closer to the top 4, maybe. But I think to lead the competition, have 5 people play Origin, still have a heap of injuries, have the most suspensions of any club, be the number 1 penalised side as well, even though we've had the most possession. Like, when you look at the percentages on that, probably says we are pushing the envelope a little bit, and some of our players are heavily screened in what they do, like Reid Marnie. There's a preemptive strike from the refs on him, which is almost unfair, but a lot of people would say he brought it on himself. I don't agree. Some people are just easy targets. But I will say that, it's been an absolute pleasure this year in so many fucking ways. I cannot explain. Timmy, I believe the side remained patient in the second half. Despite making some errors, we were able to learn from previous weeks, like the games against the Panthers and the Broncos. We won the match. That's it. We won the match. We won it. We went out there and won it. Flanagan, this fucker here tried to say, this bloke, in my background, tried to say that it was stolen from him. No, it wasn't. You lost it. If your players did some different actions in different times, you might have won, but they didn't. Need to address getting out to leads and letting teams back in, though, or letting them back in. G'day, Scary. Welcome. And thank you. Stevie agrees. The Manly game is going to be a tough one, I think. G'day, Paulie. Welcome again. Manly will be very tough, especially because Hamali returns for them. Yes, he likes going up against Big Bill Kickout. I will say Jonathan Sewer, who I think he was on the right edge and then went back to the left. He's gone up against Kickout a few times and come off second best. Hamali, I haven't seen Kickout win a battle between them two yet. So it's on. Big Billy Army, you got to go there and beat Hamali. He'll be, he might have been able for him to come back in after they beat the Storm. They're going to be pumping with confidence, and that's dangerous for us. But look, we could go and get pumped. I don't think it's going to happen. We don't lose too many day games. We really don't. And I think that the Manly Sea Eagles, they go all right in the day as well, usually. But they'll be confident. But as I said, whatever happens, we learn, we go to the next game. 7 weeks to go. I sat there and watched, a bunch of fucking supporters in 2014 wanting Des to get sacked. Now, in hindsight of what happened to us in the long run, we made the grand final that year. But after the regular season, finished in 7th and bowing out the year before. If only they'd known where the depths of how far down we were going to go. So, guys, if we have a bad day, we have a bad day. We haven't had too many, to be honest, for a side that's come so far. I'm not making preempted excuses. I'm just saying it happens. We know they've got to improve and keep improving. Sometimes you can have and we get an 8-day turnaround. There's no excuses for us not to go out there and represent our club and our fans and put out in a really good performance and give our team every chance to win. But sometimes it don't work like that. I'm expecting them to do it. I'm backing them to do it. And I hope we see a team absolutely possessed in the way that they go about dismantling the Manly Sea Eagles come Sunday. And I'm going to say that about 100 more times, I reckon, because I fucking hate them. I can't stand Manly. Manly! That fuckwit at the ground. I don't even know if it's actual supporter anymore, if they've actually got it on a recording. But, yeah, they're nearly as bad. Some of their fans are as bad as Cronulla's when you go to their games. Absolute toxic. But I know a lot of good Manly supporters. Just going to put that out there as well. Paulie, we just lacking a bit of speed around our left edge has been disrupted. I expect us to look stronger with Cherry in the side. I don't know, Paulie. I think the speed's not too bad, buddy. And Cherry's been carrying an injury for ages. I'll spawn a secrecy. But made reference to it a few times. He's not 100%. And I think some people could see that as well. Like, I've definitely been asked questions from people like, is Cherry 100%? He just doesn't seem to be into the contact as much and that sort of stuff. I think he's had a manageable groin injury and then it sort of got worse. And he shouldn't have played that Cowboys game, but he had to for the team. And did all right, you know. Don't know when he'll be back. But yeah, look, it's more costing us defensively. You know, Birdo misses that tackle. I don't know if Cherry stops that. And then in attack, I felt having Rennie Karma there's more speed there. And Tuala's not slow. He's faster than Montoya. They're not slow. And I think Anari did all right on the weekend too. I feel that his runs into yardage, tough hit-ups have all been really strong. They've got better and better and better, to be honest. And, yeah, very happy on that side of things. I think Mick makes a good point about the desperate teams trying to make up the rest of the 8 besides the top 4 that are already established. Thank you, David. What round is Cherry back? Don't know, my friend. The question for you, Mick, do you think the side can keep their points conceded below 300 at the end of the home and away season? Well, what are we on, brother? What are we on? 250 or something? We're on 288, mate. Against. Concede below 300 at the end of the home and away. So that means you think we can concede 12 points in the next 7 games? Oh, easy, mate. No. I think we'll concede probably about 40 or 50. At least 10 points a game on average. I think that's fair enough. I think it'll be some high scoring ones, some hopefully no blowouts against us. But yeah. We still have the number 1 defence. I think we're like 6th or 7th in attack. Attack, we're about 9th. About 9th or 10th. Once everyone's played every game, though, that's where you really know. It's more average per game where you got to rank them. I reckon we get to top 4, anything else is a bonus. 100%. We've got to the finals, big tick there. And they've given themselves enough time to get these combinations cranking on both sides of the ball to win enough games to keep that top 4 spot. And I sort of had minds. Like, I was like, oh, go Newcastle. Do we want Warriors to drop out? I'm like, well, I see Warriors as probably less of a threat in the finals. I shouldn't say that. But not without Metcalf and Mitch Barnett, they're not as good. It's as simple as that. It's like us losing Max King and Matt Burton from our team. We're not going to be as good. And that's just a fact. And the fact that they got Mitch Barnett and James Fisher-Harris, bring Leo Thompson to our team next year, that makes us comparable with that sort of pack. And then Thought Leo played well today, by the way. Had some good run-ups and some good tackles. Panthers did exactly what you're saying, Mick. That's it, mate. The game plan suits semi-finals. Certainly does. But the part that we've missed is that final play. You know, to get to that last moment and to ice it when you need be. And hopefully there'll be many more of them. Because there's going to be times we're going to need to ice a moment and in those big games when our defence is going to be humming again and on point and able to deal with most that's thrown at it. But then we're going to have to nail a moment in order to win the match. And that's why they've got this young fella in there. Do you think top four is settled, or do you have the Broncos and Panthers making top four? Well, if Warriors lost today, I think they would have been almost guaranteed to miss the top four. On a lot of the calculators I've done, I actually tipped Newcastle today, so that's changed a bit. But I think it's going to come down to there's going to be the Sharks, Dolphins, Roosters will be a chance, but I think they're going to struggle. I think they'll be at the bottom. If they beat a team like us, it's going to obviously help them go a long way. Dolphins keep playing well. They're going to win a lot of games. And, you know, do you want Dolphins to beat the Broncos? Probably. The way they're playing a lot of small ball and they've got the speed out wide to get things done. So if they can their desperation can take them a long way. Because that's what it does for us. But they've probably got more speed than we do. And that's always a bit of a worry. But, yeah, I think Penrith have got the best shot of getting to the top four. And I think they win every game. Look, they're going to need to beat us to make the top four, I believe. And, you know, if we beat Penrith and they stumble somewhere else and Broncos are able to win every game, Broncos make top four. Because I don't think Warriors will win every game. I don't. I think against us, it'll be a really good game. And we'll see if that Tanner Boyd's got the medal today because he failed in a lot of big moments today. He missed his moments. And they were very lucky to win because they had opportunities. He missed conversions. He missed field goals. He did some silly stuff. Don't know when he's back, brother. Growing hard to get right. I think it'll be a week by week. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, so he could be back this week. Like, probably wants revenge against Manly, you know. It's going to be a hard one. I think Anari's been pretty solid, I will say. I felt he's been pretty solid. He's done a good job. He's a good depth player to have in our club. And I think he's cherishing every moment. He's been bought for a reason. And I'm happy with him. I'm happy with Anari. And if he gets picked over Cherry or over Jethro, he's earned it. He deserves it. The whole coaching structure has said, yep, this guy. The forwards lay the platform in defence, probably a long way behind, aren't I? I'm like 45 minutes behind and about 100 bloody comments behind. So let's go. Where were we? Timmy says, I thought Jeffro's been awesome in his opening 2 games defending. It's like he's played 12 years of first grade. Also, Twilight getting match fitness, looking much better. That's it. Jay Pizzle. You can see Gavin's going to be the X factor for the Bulldogs soon. It will be. And look, that's what I'm saying. It's not about right now. We want it to be about right now. We want to win a comp as fans. We want to celebrate. We want to have that feeling. But it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Stats, Mick. You want to see some stats? All right, brother. Let's get some stats up. Only about 40 minutes after you asked. So let's do it. They've changed me buttons. Do-do-do-do. We'll come back. We'll make it bigger. Make me smaller. Let's get it cranking. Do-do-do-do. All right, 20 to 18. Team stats. We had 51% possession, about 43 seconds more with the ball, completed 81%. The completion rate said 93 straight after the game, but they've obviously rejigged it. 35 from 39 sets. 4 incomplete sets for the Dragons. Still a season high for them. We had 7 more runs. We made about 220 more meters. Won the post contact. About the same overall though per run. Line break 6 all. Tackle breaks a few less than them, but a lot less bigger blokes. So you got to expect that. Average set distance. It's one of the highest we've conceded all year, guys. And that's where, and we conceded that a lot on the edge. And then because of that run through possession, they did get a few more through the middle as well. Kick return meters, we're getting the ball where we wanted to. Tracy, able to run a long time before getting attacked. No real contested possessions for our boys. Slowed our play the ball right down, which has been a constant thing. 3.46 is probably, look, it's from when they get called held and play the ball. Teams are getting called held as we're dragging them back. And they fight and get up, play the ball quick. We've got our line set. It's nullified. When teams are getting 3 seconds against us, that's a danger. Offloads, nearly double. Passes, similar. We throw the least amount of dummies and we throw the least amount of decoys compared to most sides. But we run more supports than other sides. It's a style of play. Kicks 3 less kicking meters, meaning they had more possession. Forced dropouts. We forced 4 dropouts to their 1. Galvin got some repeat sets. Birdo got some repeat sets. Competed for some bombs. Our efficiency struggled a bit. 34 missed tackles to 25. Look, we were soft. That was much improved, though, from the previous week against the Cowboys. We missed 60, and we'd missed 34 tackles or 40 tackles by half time against the Cowboys. So it's gradual. It was always going to be better having Kurt Mann come back, having Tupindoa come back, having Max King a bit fresher with 8 days off after backing up after Origin. 10 errors to 7. A lot of the errors for the first half. We got some 6 agains because they were just absolutely all over us when we were putting on points in the first half. But we should have got more, I reckon, especially in the second, towards the end there. And there you go. We got 2 put on the report. We used 8. They used 7. They had an extra 4 interchanges due to HIAs. Player comes off, gets come back on. That's an extra 30 minutes of energy that they get to add into the mix, which, I don't know if it was deliberately screwing it, but I see it all the time. There's teams, they stay down, everything, when they're tired, if they cop any sort of little thing, they take a HIA. And he ran an injection program, that coach, so I wouldn't put anything past him. Jonathan Sewer is another one that'll be banging down the door too. Yeah. Look, I think he would have hoped to have had a go this year at some point, but he's going good. I love Jono. Like watching him play. We'll talk about cupping in it. G'day, old fella Dave. Welcome. Got a feel for the Dragons. They have never once lost to a better team. It's always the ref's fault. Just ask them. They got old drag queens. Thought Sewer's ahead of Jeff Rowe, but he's happy he's got his opportunity. Sewer played the 1 game last year in first grade, but at the run home to the finals, he could get another opportunity. Yeah, well, he's also our number 1 meter eater. in that game. Maybe this week. Definitely an option after New South Wales Cup display yesterday. Belmore, big turnaround from last week. Yeah, it was. It helps getting Toby Sexton going back, helps a big time. The game against the North Sydney Bears that they got flogged 50-0. Our right edge conceded 8 tries in that game. 8. That right edge was Luke Smith, Mitch Woods, I think Louis Grossamy, and Hamish Wilson. Hamish went back to Jersey Flegg and had a really good game in their win against Manly. Now, Manly aren't the best sides in these comps. It didn't matter. The style of play, we played in 80 minutes. And in that Jersey Flegg game, we led 32-6 and defended our line for about 6 or 7 minutes and scored off the back of it. They got too late, but it was, we had one put in the bin and all that sort of stuff. I was very happy with that because they've been fading out a lot as well. It's sort of been a club thing at the moment. And I think it's about a lot of the instability of players going back and forth that contributes, and the amount of effort they have to put in to this game plan. It demands a lot. But it's proven that when you get the right troops developed and the right people in the right places, working to that common goal under that type of game plan, it's very, very hard to beat. And it doesn't matter what anyone fucking says, we're hard to beat. Even in that Broncos game, they had to be perfect that half. Second half, people will say they switched off. We got to work, we outplayed them, and should have been 18-2 that second half. They got one with 9 seconds to go. We're a hard team to fucking beat. And that's part of the next phase of us as a club. You know what I mean? Like, you got to take it in phases. 3 wins, 3 wins. 7 wins, 7 wins. 13 wins. We're already past that or up to what we won last year. And there's still 6 or 7 games to go. And had 5 players in Origin and everything else that's happened. Changed our halfway through, all that sort of shit. You know, business as usual stuff. Here he is, Brian Dibb. Hayes and Hutch were rubbish. I'll tell you what, Brian. I reckon you're more rubbish than they are. I'm glad we had them and not you in our team, brother. Because yeah, I just don't like your comments. I go on. I listen to the Kennel Boys, and I really like your comments there either. Sort of got it in for you a bit, Brian, but thanks for coming, mate. Appreciate it. Share the workload, keep them fresh. Well, that's what I think they'll do, Dave. I think there will be a rotation policy. There has to be. But I want to get and talk about Sam Hughes because I was absolutely wrapped with him yesterday. And it wasn't just the fact that he, stepped off the left and the right, going over the halfway line and cut through the fucking front line of the defence. Then draws in the fullback and passes to Logan Spinks, who runs at 40 metres to score, There was nothing to do with that. He just had a good day out and he played really, really well. And he'll come back into the side for Satili Tupanua. Curran will drop back to the bench. And I think they'll go out with the best team that they can this week and do their best. Lehigh manhandled Coates last night. Yeah, he's good, Lehigh. He doesn't look big, does he? Plays with heart, and mate, fucking Will, his brother was good. This kid's better. Manly will give Dogs a good run. They certainly will, Brian. 100%. And bring it on. That's what we need. If we fall short, we fall short. Move to the next game. We're going well. I've got Lehigh playing Origin next year. Paulie, you could be right there, mate. I think he's in the mix. And it might be time to look for a player like that. If they don't complete over 90%, Manly will win easy. Will they? So we've got to play perfect, do we? That's if Daly picks him. You know how you pick your teams for next year as soon as you lose. Till he done his hammy. He certainly did. The 95 series, the doggies were the biggest underdog. I still remember the papers and news saying we had no chance of winning against the star-studded Manly outfit. I was confident we were going to smash them, and we did. That's the thing. If you watch those semi-finals against the Raiders, I'm pretty sure it was Raiders, then the Broncos, just destroyed them. Now, Raiders lost Ricky Stewart, right? I think in the last round of the year, and cost them any chance of going back to back because they were going all right in 95. But yeah, we were just absolutely just way too tough for the Seagulls. Smashed them. Smashed every team. Loved it. Want to see Buzz faces. Still is a big loss for us. He is, Brian. G'day, Scotty, up the mighty doggies. Yeah, I appreciate his mongrel, and I think we do need his mongrel. But next man up. It was Buller. It's all fake news, is it? Okay. Pretty racist to me to think all black people look the same. Well, Foxtel is very racist, Brian. I know. That's why I take on the media, and you don't like when I do it. Seems like you're taking on the media there, brother. Stay to his face, Brian. Go, Harry. That's what I say, Scotty. And welcome, Scotty Warren, Harry Hayes' biggest fan. I'll have to tell someone about that. And Harry might send you something. We'll see what we can do. Not that I've got any say, really, but I'll ask. Salmon isn't better than man. Nah, Brian, see, you don't know what you're talking about, brother. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'll act like that to you. Man, see, you still don't know how the fucking team works. You don't know how the team works, mate. Salmon starts, man comes on with the energy, and he goes flat out for about 30 minutes. He's not young either, Kurt Man. Not saying he's an old man, Kurt Man. Do you know he's so involved in what we do when he comes on. He can't do that starting. He'll only do that as a starter if Salmon's not there, but then they got Hayward starting because man brings our impact. If you don't understand a 17 fucking man game, don't talk on here because you're always negative to people. You don't have to tear Salmon down to boost man up. Hutch is not better than Perry. No, you fucking hate Hutchison, mate, because you don't understand rugby league. You don't understand that he's still there contributing to our club. You don't get it, mate. And the fact is, if you go and talk to these people's mates and you sit there and you say, right, ooh, Hutch is shit. Go and say that in front of Sexton, see what he reckons. He'd probably say nothing because they're not allowed to do shit. But if they could, they'd tell you to fuck off and leave their mate alone. They bleed for each other, mate. They're a tight group. And this is what I mean. They wouldn't be a tight group. They wouldn't be in the position they're in if they weren't. Divided groups can't do that. So you're going to sit there and hang shade on people and put shit on players, right? Well, he's better than him. And look, you're not doing much more than what I was saying he was better than him. Maybe I was wanting you to bite, but at the end of the fucking day, mate, all you do is contribute shit on people. I've seen it for a long time. How about you support the players and try and understand why they get picked rather than saying they shouldn't be fucking picked? It's all right to have an opinion. That's fine, mate. Go for it. But don't come on here and start going all anti-Jamin Salmon. Like you're focused on him. So unless he plays a perfect game, he's shit. Brian, you don't understand. Hutch was the second most missed tackles in the NRL. I don't give a fuck about your statistics. He attempts to make the tackles. That's the whole point. Half our halfbacks wouldn't even read it. We've only had a good couple of halfbacks that could defend in the last 8 years. Lachlan Lewis was one of them, but the way he defended used to put us under more pressure. The way he tackled, because he had no ruck control. He was great one-on-one defender, fucking awesome. He used to slam him to the ground and then get up and play the ball. Look, it's about line speed and putting your body in front. And he made more try and saving tackles than any half I'd seen in our team do for a very, very long time. Until Sexton come into our team after 9 weeks. If he'd come in before that, he would have lost all confidence because we wouldn't have won 3 games. The first 2 games we lost against Parramatta and the Sharks, our defence was unbelievable on our line. We had no possession in both games. Should have led 18-6 against the Sharks in round 2. So if you want to talk about shit, talk about the context of it. Throwing a stat at me means fucking nothing. I don't care who has the most missed tackles. Gus Gould will fucking tell you. Go ask him. Nathan Hindmarsh used to miss 1 tackle a game and get 45, 50, but he was the third man in. You want to look at stats and play Supercoach, go for it, mate. Not here. We don't give a fuck about. I don't care about Supercoach, mate. Don't care about that shit. I talk about it. It's a stat, but it doesn't tell you the full story. It's all about competing and making the tackle. And there's players that we've had that wouldn't even get a hand on the edges on some of these players that have gone through. Well, Hutchison did. That's because he's thrown himself everywhere, mate. He worked his ass off. Yeah, and it probably cost us in attack because he was huffing and puffing. He's a bit slow. I fucking get it. I can see what you see, mate. But I know the purpose of why he was there, and you refuse to even look at it. You don't even say, why was he there? You'd rather sit there and make up shit about that the coach is shit and doesn't know what they're doing. And talk us down and push us fucking down rather than try and build us up and think, well, why is he fucking there? Maybe I'll start asking that question. When it comes to semi-final football, we see a different gear. That's it, doggies. You know it, brother. Finally got the hood stick guy. You got the bad stick guy. Poor Blocker's feeling it. He is, mate. I'd be worried if we were playing great for 80 and only just winning. It's a good sign not playing our best all year, but still managed to win a lot. 100%. And look, if we don't take the step up, we don't do it. We learn from it, go again. We can see what they've got to go further. We all know that. No one's hiding from that. And I think they will. Because that's the type of style and system that's been brought to our club. It's a system that just keeps on working. And then when you're faced with challenges that your group's not used to, you have to start mixing things up. And sometimes you get those things wrong too. Like, it's not guaranteed, nor should it be. Our coach needs to make some mistakes. And he has. But I'll tell you what, he goes pretty good. And Craig Bellamy hadn't produced 5 State of Origin players out of nowhere. Well, 4, basically, in his first 3 years. He got 3 consecutive years. He got Cameron Smith, Billy Slater, and then Matt King. And after that came Cooper Cronk and Dallas Johnson. Then Ryan Hoffman, I think, and Greg Inglis. not in any order. But how many of them were generational stars of their time? How many will we have? They're spine players. Don't know. But I think we've got a lot of upside. Hopefully we can do that here. Gratitude, how long is Cherry out for? He makes us much stronger on the edge. Well, he does. He's confident. I felt his defence has got better and better. And if he can stretch out, he's got that speed as well. Look, I'm excited about the long term of Jeffro and Cherry there for quite a bit. In staying injury free, I think it offers us way more variation in what our halves can do for them as well, and just also what they can do together on the edges and become threats all in their own right to force opposition teams to hold off. And look, I don't know if you noticed, but the Dragons were wary of Galvin. Like, he's got a bit of an aura. Like, someone's going to go and smash through that aura shortly at some point. Some big dude, could be Hamoli, right? But teams aren't going hard at him, rushing up at him and stuff. And he's got the speed to get to both sides of the ruck and to play that short side stuff, which is, that's one of Mitchell Moses' best traits. And I felt his hand, he had much softer hands this week too, with his short balls and stuff. Like, there was none of this face ball bullshit. And yeah, it's almost as if he'd improved from the week before, or from the game before that, when we lost to the Broncos, and he got blamed for it. 4 to 6 weeks, I think. G'day, Pete. How you going, brother? Tupanu's injury different to the one that kept him sidelined, mate. Yeah, I know, but still, under fatigue, just come back. I thought it was a mistake. And that's just my opinion. I don't know. That's just what I think. May or may not have changed anything. But he's injured himself again because he first came back, played 25 tough minutes, had to do a fair bit of defending before he went off to get a breather. They brought him on to chase points. He got involved. 3 minutes later, he's done. Yeah, I'm bringing Curran on, but that's just me. I'm getting paid millions of dollars to coach teams. So listen to me, not Serrato. How's bro? He was brought in to win us games and big games, and he did exactly that, didn't he? It's a lot more to it than that reason anyway. 100%. Gleno, welcome. If you look at the play, Jeffro was like 5 metres back when Galvin passed the ball. Jeffro showing how quick he can move to get in the Jeffro the right space. If you go looking through Jeffro Renicama's highlights, he has done that plenty of times. Muscle memory. G'day, Amir. They are a grubby team. G'day, mate. At least Sexton hasn't thrown the toys out the cot and played well in New South Wales Cup. 100%, Scotty. What a play. And look, this is what I'm saying. Where's the division? Force players don't want to come off. You want them to be fucking angry when they want to contribute to their team to winning. Sexy play, good man. Couple of tries, assists. He actually scored a try under the post, but Jack Todd was in his way and he went sort of behind him and scored, so they disallowed it. But he got a line breaks, assists, try assists, fucking everything. He's going to kill. Yeah, he will kill it, and he'll come back a better player. I'm sure of it. And that's it, Scotty. This is what I'm talking about. Everyone's one of these guys on Facebook I always go to battle with. He's just old school, and he's been copped so many knocks to the head as a league player. He's just set in his ways like all of us. Anyway, he's like, I did a post basically saying all this sort of stuff, Well, Sexton helps us in some other areas which we're struggling in at the moment, but he hasn't shown parts to his game that Galvin showed us at the end there. And I'm like, he's just going to do his job and he's going to keep his dream alive. And if Galvin or Burton go down, and he's going to be there ready to come in and try and help us win a final, try and help us get to a grand final and get a ring. Like, they're all doing that. And that's what I saw in the New South Wales Cup on the weekend. Mitchell Woods, last tackle, faking to do the kick, keeps the ball, runs to the line at an angle, does a little grubber behind at the line, through it, behind Brandon Wakeham, of all players, regathers, past to Cassius Tia, who had a bit of work to do, but Goose Steffen scores in the corner. It was like watching Steve Mortimer, because Gus said he was reminded him of him. But very, very happy. I was so happy. So happy. Otakulo gave me a lot of confidence. The way he ran the ball from dummy half, the direct way they played, the confidence with the passing, kicking game was on point. And Shorty Moran played well. Saluka Fafita had some really good runs. It was just a great performance. And the kids that were in the New South Wales Cup last week that got demolished went back to Flegg. A lot of those players, and they really had good games. And what I saw was it was like the reset for the whole club. We've got 7 or 8 weeks to go. There's all these kids. Some of these kids aren't going to have a blue and white jersey next year, so they've got to find one. Everything's an audition. Some of them aren't going to see their mates next year the same way. It's like we've got to do the best we can and finish this year on a high. And this is the sort of stuff that goes untalked about. They sit there and talk about the distraction of Toby and Galvin. There's 70 kids. There's all these kids at every team that their dreams are coming to an end. And they all knuckled down. They all played their roles. Some of these kids are part of our year next year. And they'll be some of them will be first picked in the New South Wales Cup. It's their first year against men. And they're just going to go out there and do their best and put their hand up and be ready. If, who's to say there's not some outbreak again and 6 players catch something? We need 6 to come in. And they're like, let's go. Let's fucking go. And they're ready. That's what it's all been about, timing it to the absolute minute. You got a young fellow, Logan Spinks, there. He's like, I'm going to keep working. My dream could come tomorrow. Could come at any point. Young Tamworth boy, come through our Greater Northern Tigers pathways. Another leader from that pathway side. Jonathan Sewell has got his taste. He's got the footwork and the finishing ability, into the contact good, catch a ball, really good finisher. Got him playing both sides of the field at different points, different positions, centre, wing, put him a fullback for a game. Just tuning these kids up, developing them, getting them ready, having them timed to perfection for their debut. If they make it, if they hit all the markers they got to hit, and having the right combinations built for the first grade side. That's what it's all about. Winning these games and these junior games, it's good for confidence. And look, if you go and look at the Jersey Flegg the previous 2 years, they had way more stability for the majority of their seasons than they've had this year. And there's been a reason for that. Because the NRL team, it was all about getting confidence into the club and getting confidence into these kids getting them playing together, forming combinations, and then bringing those combinations all the way through to first grade the best that we can. And we're seeing it, right? Imagine when Jethro and Woods are back together in first grade. Sewer and Harry Hayes and Bailey Haywood, they've all played together. Cassius Tia. They're all here next year. They'll be much better for the run. And yeah, we sit there and think the team we're looking at, there's no possible way we can do it without any of those players in our team right now. I can tell you, a lot of them aren't going to be there within 2 years. I don't see Kikau being there. I'm not going to say too many more because I'll upset some people. But yeah. Those 95 jerseys looking crisp. The Manly game will have a grand final feeling. I believe it'll give the Dogs big confidence in the season-defining win. I love reading. The Dogs need better attack. The only thing helping us stay on top is our defence, and the Dragons was going through our defence a lot. Yeah, go watch the start of the thing, brother. I've talked a lot on that. But thank you so much. Jerome Buller's sitting in the member stand with his manager watching his mate Galvin play on Saturday night. Brian said it didn't happen. Oh, I finally called up to you, have I, Brian? I definitely agree our fans need to be more loyal to the younger players. 100%. More loyal to all the players. My top 8 predictions: Raiders, Dogs, Melbourne, Warriors, Broncos, Sharks, Penrith, Manly. Could happen. I think Manly will drop out. And I think we'll replace them with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dolphin. Should be a cracker final series. Just to 100% confirm for those in any doubt, not that it really matters, Buller was at the game and then stood generously taking photos after the game with many fans behind the Bulldogs store in the stadium. So there you go, Brian, because gas on. Look, there's not too many people who've carried Hazem El Masri on their shoulder. So if someone, sorry about that, but yeah, Brian, I think you go and get your information correct. Stop being just someone who just out there to piss people off. I think Cherry been injured about a month. Notice his drop off since then. Yeah, it's been about that. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I saw him. I think we make a break. Maybe it was even the Raiders game. We made a break, and then when King scored after, I think when he got up, he was different. I think that's how far it goes back. That's what I reckon. I could be wrong. Very impressed with Serrato taking the front foot last week and handling all the media commitments during a very interesting week for halfback selections. Great leadership. He controlled the narrative. Yeah, look, man, like Paul Crawley came out with that disgusting piece, which didn't get too much play. They played it like Canterbury has given them the info that Galvin was coming in for Sexton. And if the Fox people get that, they're like, oh, they're speaking to us. The Dogs are just bringing us. Yeah, that was leaked. There was propaganda. Wouldn't even surprise me if the stats come from the Dogs. I want my club to manage business the way you got to manage business. The only problem is, and there's always a problem, there's always a consequence of any action. People are on the fence about it, and people that were all about Galvin coming in just started laying the boot into anyone who was, feeling for Sexton or wanted Sexton to stay or didn't understand why the Dogs would change this. And Fox flipped their narrative after we won without Galvin. Fox then said, it would have been like, okay, you've just proven our point. But then said, no, we were wrong. Oh, they don't care. They go flip-flop either way, doesn't matter. Then Crawley comes out and says how cruel we were to Toby. Yeah, well, Crawley, guess what? You've never had a problem with the Roosters making a call on any of their halves. Mitchell Pearce, State of Origin half, replaced by another one. Kyle Flanagan himself. You supported him getting booted from the Roosters, then flip-flopped 4 times on the Dogs' handling of him. Why are you sacking him? Why are you bringing him back? Now you need to sack him. And now you're jumping on the nepotism thing as well. Like, fuck Paul Crawley. The Roosters can't do any wrong, according to him. If they do something, it's great. You know, who played for the Roosters this week in their loss? Chad Townsend. Who do you replace? Sandon Smith. Well done. Sure, if we looked at the stats, would have been funny. I was thinking we were going to be 5th or 6th again this year, so I'm proud of the boys. Fucking oath, brother. Oh, here we go. Leo Thompson was poor, not worth $750K. No. You could go get a job with fucking Buzz Rockfield, Brian. You're probably his inside man, are you? Who do you think will replace Satilli? G'day, Paddy, welcome. It will be Samuel Hughes. Unless he has an injury, then it'll be Daniel Saluka for feeder. Don't think it'll be Jack Todd. And, well, they had a better game on the weekend. Still getting his fitness up again. KB, hi all. Very happy for Galvin, his first game as halfback with the main team. I just added that in. Can't imagine being under that much pressure and scrutiny as a middle-aged adult, let alone a 20-year-old. He shows some ticker. Beautiful comment. Thank you very much. 100%. G'day, Abraham. Welcome. Kickout will cause a lot of trouble for Tanner Boyd when we play the Warriors. We saw it against the Titans a few years ago. Yeah, he destroyed Keanu Kinney and Tanner Boyd in the one game. Des dropped Keanu that week for the following week, brought him back about a week or two later, and been perfect since. Tanner's been playing really well in New South Wales Cup in an outstanding team. But, yeah, head demons. And I think young Kickout, young Bill, can really put the pressure on him. Good call. I'm going to give that a star as well. Brian doesn't get any stars. Don't break the fence. Love it. Flanagan's press conference was just a desperate attempt to deflect the loss. What may follow with the team's lack of success. His fixation on the officials was obvious. Coaching can be cutthroat. Well, he got all the support to get the job. You know, I had no problem with him being an assistant coach. If he stayed in that lane, I think it would have been a lot better for his son, that's for sure. Thinking about this kind of top 8, Timmy says Raiders, Dogs, Panthers, Storm, Bronco, Warrior, Sharks, Dolphin. I think they're your 8, with Rooster and Manly the only other sides that can make it. But it'd be love to see it just keep on, you know, someone like the Tigers come from nowhere. I'd like that. But that would mean they'd probably have to beat the Dogs. So, nah, fuck that. Panthers won't make the top 4, but they can win it outside the top 4. They don't need to be top 4. Well, you wouldn't write them off, would you? Leo Thompson will be better after pre-season training. His mistakes that he makes at Newcastle will not be as prevalent at the Dogs. Yeah, people don't get anything to do with that sort of shit. They don't. They just want to sit there and go, oh, not worth it. We should be keeping Max King. A lot of these players, when Max King come, a lot of these fans, when Max King and certain players come to the club, are like, why the fuck did you buy this wanker? They would have been criticising. Why'd you buy him for? I only see the bad signings, never the good ones. I only see the bad, never the good. Brian, you love it, don't you? I've gone ahead to you here. I'll fucking go do whatever I want, mate. If you don't want to subscribe, fucking unsubscribe, mate. I'm not here for subscribers. I think you don't understand that, mate. I'm here to express my opinion my way, and we have a nice little community going. And we give and we take. We listen and we learn. But you know what you do? You just tell people how shit everything is. And mate, honestly, I hope you're okay because your dopamine levels must struggle. So whatever you're doing, the Bulldogs winning and being perfect isn't going to fix it long term. Have a good night, Scotty. Thanks for coming in, my brother. We're coming second on our own again. See, everyone's like, oh, nearly lost. We should have flogged them. Then the Storm lose to Manly, and it's all of a sudden, oh, fuck. Did Sam Hughes play middle yesterday? He was listed in the back row on the team list for Cup side yesterday. Do you have Sam going back into the NRL side to replace Stilly? 100% do, Tim. What do you want to win this game? Worried about Holami Olakwatu on Galvin. Well, I think he'll be on the right edge and Galvin will be on the opposite right edge. So we won't see it too much unless Galvin comes across the other side in attack and gets hit by Holami, the big boy, but Amoli. But I don't think that'll happen. Yeah, I'd say top 8. That's all good, brother. Leo definitely reaches potential in the doggy system. He's only 25 too, very young. Front rower. Having a 1-2 punch with a Max King who just keeps growing in confidence. And can play long minutes. And works hard and tries hard. He's got what we need. They can make mistakes. Italian Tupanua's been making multiple errors per game for as long as I can remember. But he fucking tries hard. And that's your number one thing. Put your head in, Brian, bro. What the fuck? It's like you're trolling. Yeah, he is. He's an absolute wanker. That's all right. Damn, I'm late. Lolo, we'll listen to this. Thanks, Michael. I missed your stats tonight, bro. Later, brother. I think Galvin can handle it. Come on, Mick, you have to keep up with the people. We are the people. Mick, can we beat Melbourne Storks? Probably. We should have beat them last year. One missed moment and we lost the game. And the only reason I call that moment out is because I know that he got sent back to play New South Wales Cup, got ripped by Potter and by some of the juniors who were ripping into him. So the next day he played 12 minutes and got puffed. He's now with the Eels. And so is the kid who ripped him. Joe Ash got stuck into him when he went and played against the Magpies the next day. He scored a great try. No one was going to stop him. Gideon Katonga, who didn't even get a hand on his mate. You know? What's his name? The bloke who went from Wests to the Storm and scored their match winner against us. But that game, it didn't matter that we lost. They knew that we pretty much were the better side against the Storm that night in Melbourne. Beat them the year before. I think we can beat the Storm. Of course I do. Whether we do or not, see what happens. Only team I want to beat more than Para is Manly. Come on, boys. That's it, Brian. Just want to say I freaking love Jeffro. Yeah, I actually tell people when I'm talking about it, I say, this young fella, Michael, who only started playing footy last year and he's only young, he went to school with Jeffro. So there you go. Mick, as always, your podcast is extremely informative and genuinely appreciated by all us loyal supporters. The format is amazing. Thank you so much, Gaston. That's it, fellas. And thank you to Brian Dibb for giving me the chance to have a crack back at ya. Love talking to everyone. Very happy with the win. And hopefully we do pack out Allianz Stadium. It's a great stadium now, and I hope the Dogs absolutely pack it out and put the Melbourne Storm under a lot of pressure. Sorry, the Manly Seagulls to the sword. It's early prediction with the team for the Sunday week against Manly besides Tilly being replaced. Sam Hughes comes in, no other changes unless Cherry's right to go. If Cherry's right to go, then Anari or Jeffro come out of the side. One of those two. Pretty easy. No worries, KB. Thank you. I love you too, Brian. And I don't like Brian did, but that's all right. We don't have to love everyone. Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy work tomorrow. Thank you for the podcast. Have a good one. My pleasure, Glenn. I'll see you all soon. Be back on Tuesday at probably about 8 o'clock again. I know. Maybe 7:15 again. We'll see what happens. Not all Brians are pricks. No, just some of them. Awesome. Up the Dogs, I'll fill a day. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon. Good night. And go the Dogs. Thank you, Timmy. Thank you, David. Bye-bye.